Hello everybody, Steve from dudehack.com, and today we are going to be talking about whether or not over 40s can use Tinder. As I said, today we're talking about you over 40s and whether or not something like Tinder is still acceptable for you to use. So in today's video, we'll be going through whether or not someone in their 40s can use Tinder. We'll also run through some dating tips for people in their 40s and above. And on top of that, I'm going to reveal 3 dating apps or sites that I think are definitely better for you than Tinder. If you're still not sure, even by the end of this video, whether or not Tinder is right for you, what I suggest is you head over to dudehack.com and take our free quiz. That quiz will tell you exactly what dating app will suit you best. And the link is just down in the description. But you are here to find out about Tinder and whether or not being over 40 will affect whether you can use it or not, or just whether or not you should use it. The simple answer is, of course, yes, you can use Tinder. There is no age limit or restrictions when it comes to using Tinder. Only you can be a little bit too young, being under 18. The real question is whether or not you would feel like you're in the right place, whether or not you want to use Tinder. So look, the fact that you have clicked on this video or you haven't clicked off yet tells me that you most likely are over 40. Now, whether or not you've been on online dating, you've been in the dating game for a while, or maybe you're just getting out of something and you're looking to jump back into dating for the first time in a while, you probably have heard that online dating is starting to take over the world. For you 40s, you're in a pretty weird situation. A lot of you would have hit your late 20s and your early 30s only when these apps started to emerge and gain popularity. Now, yes, you would have been around for dating apps like eHarmony, which is still going very, very strong, but apps like Tinder and Bumble have been some of the latest things to hit the market in the last 10 years. Now, it is a little bit weird for you guys because for young people, online dating is basically the norm. It's going to be taking over more and more people are going to be using it. So a lot of you might have thought, well, this is a bit odd when it first started becoming popular, but now it's everywhere you look. And to be completely honest with you, it's pretty hard to avoid if you are wanting to date. Just one thing I do notice with people who are in this age group and over, because of those reasons I discuss, is a lot of the time they might be a bit more inclined to just give up on online dating altogether. I strongly urge you to give it a real hard go and not give up. Yes, it's going to be different to what you're used to when you were dating in your early 20s, but like I said, it's not going anywhere. So you better learn how to adapt. So you might be wondering, what is the age group or who are the users that actually use Tinder? Well, this probably doesn't come as too much of a surprise to most of you, but the age group of 18 to 34 is by far the largest demographic on Tinder. But the good news is that age group of 34 to 45 still has a fairly large user base. You'll see on the graph that pops up here just the percentage of users that use Tinder. Keep in mind that on Tinder, it's got one of the largest, if not the largest, user base out of any dating app out there. So that means even if we were talking about one of these age groups being even just 1%, that would still be a lot of people. Now, the reason it is so popular, in my opinion, is because it is free. Yes, there is the paid versions like Tinder Plus, Tinder Gold, and Tinder Platinum, but you can get quite a decent amount out of the app without actually spending any money, especially if you are a woman. Now, I do say that because there are a lot more men using Tinder than women. So obviously women are just a bit more sought after and are likely to get way more likes. Now, quite a few years ago when Tinder first did come out, the connotation around it was that it was purely for hookups, that people would get on there, swipe with someone, basically go meet and get laid. Now, sure, that still happens, but don't fall into the trap. You over 40s, for some reason it happens a lot with a lot of my older clients. Don't fall into the trap to thinking that Tinder is just purely for hookups. No, it is not your personal sex slot machine. It is a platform to meet people. Remember that. There are a whole variety of what people are looking for on Tinder. For example, there are many marriages that have actually started from Tinder. But keep in mind, compared to dating sites like eHarmony or Elite Singles, yes, Tinder will be used more often than those for things like hookups or just something a bit more casual. Now, as I mentioned before, even if a small percentage of users fit into that age group, it doesn't matter because the user base is massive. Guys, right now, and this is probably more than when I last checked, but right now there's over 10 million active users on Tinder currently. Most of them are in the US. So as I mentioned before, can you use Tinder? Yes, of course, you are absolutely allowed. There is nothing standing in your way of using it. There is a decent amount of users within that age group. But the big question remains is if you would actually want to. I'm sure the reason you are even clicking on this video is the last thing you want is to feel completely out of place and really feel, I'm gonna say it, too old. Now, if that thought has crossed your mind, don't be ridiculous. You're not too old for anything, but will you feel a little bit out of place depending on what you're looking for compared to the typical user demographic that is on Tinder? So I did slightly go over the user base that makes up Tinder, how old they are, what they are looking for. So that question really comes down to you. Would you feel out of place being surrounded by people who are mostly younger and looking for things maybe a little bit more casually, more often than not? So that really comes down to you. Do I think there are better apps for you? Yes, definitely. We'll get to those in a second. But first, let's run through some tips when it comes to dating in your 40s and older. My number one piece of advice is to study the material. What I mean by that is a lot of people that are 40 and above and mightn't have used online dating that much tend to not really get the culture or make some weird little mistakes for some reason. There's a bit of a running joke that guys that are divorced and in their 40s, then when they take online dating pics, ends up sort of looking like this weird selfie and then not smiling. Don't take selfies, don't do any of that stuff. But at the very, very least, this is a bit of a cheap plug, but go and check out my website to get just a bit of an idea of what it's all about. What people put on their profiles, what the youngsters are doing, so to speak. So you know that you're not making a bit of a faux pas and making a bit of a simple mistake that's stopping you from making connections with people. On top of that, you can even just go to websites like Reddit and have a check of the Tinder subreddit and see what people are posting on their profiles. Secondly, embrace it and just have fun. Look, if you've been in a relationship for a long time, or you might have been out of the dating game for a while, or you've just never tried online dating, get out there, go have fun. What is the most you have to lose? As I mentioned, online dating is not going anywhere. To just completely ignore it and not give it a go is just not conducive for anyone. So embrace it, have fun, recognize what it is, and just try to make it a little bit of a stress-free, fun thing that you actually enjoy. For example, a woman that I was helping out a little while ago was in her 50s and she started on online dating, and at first she was very trepidatious, felt very weird about it, but then she just embraced it and had the best time. She had fun with it. Guys, at the end of the day, this is almost like a little bit of a game. So go into it with a completely open mind and just to enjoy it. And lastly, my last tip is to not be afraid, but at the same time, trust your gut. Now again, because this is going to be quite weird for you, it's going to be a brand new world, you should really trust your intuition. Now I mean that for two different reasons. Number one, on online dating, yes, you might have heard about it before. There are people pretending to be who they're not. That's just the simple truth of it. Is there many of them? No. Don't stress too much. But look, let's just say you're a guy, you're in your 40s, and a gorgeous 19-year-old is asking you for money or something. Chances are that it's not somebody who's just looking to get to know you, okay? So just have a bit of common sense too. If your gut is telling you that something is fishy, listen to it. On the flip side of that, if you're about to really set off on your online dating journey, you haven't done it before, maybe you've got a date set up or somebody has asked you for a date. I say this because this happened again to one of my clients. But basically she was about to go on a date. She liked the guy and everything, but when it came down to it, she freaked out. She almost went ahead and canceled the date. Now, when I spoke to her, we had a bit of a chat about the situation. I asked her, what does your gut say? What does your intuition, what is it telling you? She really stopped, reflected, and realized that yes, her gut is telling her all good things. She's just freaking out because it's a brand new world. She went on the date, had a great time, and hasn't looked back. So just listen to that little voice and you should be fine. Don't overthink it. You're not going to be swarmed by people pretending who they're not and trying to be scammed. Just have your wits about you. Now, let's run through 3 different dating apps or sites that I believe are definitely better for anybody in their 40s and above compared to Tinder, based on what you're looking for. First and foremost, if you are looking for anything even slightly serious, you want to date, you want to get out there, you want a relationship, preferably even something long term, do not waste your time on Tinder and get straight on over to eHarmony. Now, eHarmony has one of the greatest track records. It's been around for 20 plus years. You might have heard about it from a long time ago, but it is more effective right now, in my opinion, than ever. It has a massive user base of people in their 40s, and if you are looking for something a little bit more serious, you can rest assured that the rest of the people on there are as well. You don't have to wade through hundreds, if not thousands of profiles for people who aren't looking for something the same as you. The reason eHarmony is number 1 on my suggestions is because of its track record and its crazy stats. Its success rate is very, very impressive, which is very, very clear according to the stat that almost 70% of men and over 70% of women will find their loved one within 1 year of using eHarmony. But if that sounds almost a bit daunting to you, like it's too much commitment, what I suggest is to try Elite Singles. Now, Elite Singles is for the affluent, educated, and career-driven individual, generally over about 30 to 35. I suggest Elite Singles for you if you're in your early 40s and your career is highly important to you and you've been to college and or university. If you're looking for like-minded people that sort of fit that mold, again, don't waste your time on Tinder, get on over to Elite Singles. And lastly, I had to include this in here because if you are someone that is in your 40s and you're looking for a hookup, something casual, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, awesome, go enjoy it. What I suggest, again, is to not waste your time with Tinder and get on Adult Friend Finder. Now, regardless of what you might have heard about Adult Friend Finder, it is, in my opinion at least, the very, very best place for you to go and find a hookup in your 40s. Now, I say not to waste your time on Tinder because remember, not everybody is looking for a hookup. I've had many guys in their 40s that have told me about their dating experience, their online dating experience, and they tell me they've just tried to hop on Tinder and then gave up because they didn't get any sex out of it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You can't just get on these apps and think that girls will throw themselves at you and you can go get laid. But on a site like Adult Friend Finder, where everybody is looking for it, that quite literally is your best bet. Plus, if you are extra adventurous, there's not just this sort of one-on-one type dynamic with Adult Friend Finder. You could get involved with couples or even groups. Now, I wanted to definitely include this in my top 3 suggestions for people in their 40s because a lot of the time, this is what people want. They've maybe got out of a relationship. They want to explore themselves and the world a little bit. Yes, once upon a time, maybe jumping online to find a fling or something more casual might have been a little bit taboo. Today, in 2021, it is not. So if there is any single tiny little part of you that's even interested to explore that, guys, go on over and try adultfriendfinder.com. Now, all of those 3 different dating sites and apps I suggest, I have gone ahead and included a free trial link down below in the description. So I highly suggest if any of those do sound like they would match you better, that you go ahead and not waste your time on Tinder and try one of those instead. Click on any of those links down in the description of any of those 3 dating sites to give it a go for free. But you know what? Try them all. Who cares? You know, you might as well put yourself out there as much as you can. If you want to try Tinder, go for it. If you want to try Bumble and Hinge and all of them even, go for it. There's no reason why you can't try 1 or 2 or 3 and see which one that suits you best or which one just gets you the most matches. But guys, that is basically it. I hope that has given you some advice or any sort of help when it does come to dating in your 40s. What I suggest is head on over to dudehack.com where I have plenty of articles on all things dating, especially dating in your 40s, 50s, and even older. On top of that, if you're still not sure what dating site suits you best, you still don't think one of those 3 I just mentioned would suit you, what you should do right now is head on over to dudehack.com's free quiz. that quiz will tell you exactly what dating site is best for you. I've gone ahead and I've included a link to that down in the description below. But that is the video today. I hope that has helped out. If it has helped whatsoever, I've answered any of your questions, I would really appreciate if you did go ahead and press the thumbs up. It helps more than you can imagine. On top of that, if you are new here, please go ahead and subscribe. But I'll be bringing you these videos every single day for the next little while, so keep your eyes peeled. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Stay safe, be well, and I'll see you later.